In spirit of the art course being in full swing, let's talk about the luck of the unsuccessful artist. You're probably like, okay, delusional. Not talk about delusional. What is up with you? No. There is a true immense amount of luck of being unsuccessful. Like what? With art. At the beginning. And kind of overall. With I am being specific to writing. I don't know if it lends itself to other arts, but I would assume so. Because we have the art course, go check it out. But you're probably like, why, where's the benefit? The benefit is you get to make art for you. Because once there's an audience, there's an audience. And first, okay, I'll be more personal. I wrote 3 books so far and published them. Go check them out in the description. But there is no audience I was writing for because there was no audience that existed. I mean, now there's a little bit of people here and there's a little bit of people on TikTok or whatever. But there was not really an audience in the way one thinks of one. And so I got to just write them for me, and I had a blast. I had a blast experimenting with fiction, and I was giggling all the way through writing that fiction book because it's very different to poetry, because when I write poetry, I'm usually sad. And I just got to enjoy it. I got to enjoy making something I would like, making something I would laugh at, making something I enjoy. It sounds very selfish, it is. Art is a selfish pursuit that ends up helping people, and so it gets to not be selfish. It's beautiful in the way it gets to fulfill me, and ideally it gets to fulfill someone else. Someone read one of my poems at a funeral, a stranger that saw my poem and asked if they could read it at a funeral, and that was really very touching. I hate funerals and I never want to be at another one, but it is still very flattering to be at a funeral in that sense, and to help someone out in that way. I mean, I was just writing about my own grief, and then to help someone out in such a huge way, and they don't have to think of words, and that I explained the words as they would have wanted to. It's great. I said this before, writing, everyone feels the same things. Most just don't find the words. So you're not inventing new things outside of fiction. You're not, I mean, just in poetry basically. You're not inventing new things. You're just giving words to things everyone feels and has no words for. And so you're opening conversations, which is such a beautiful thing. And also to get to be at a funeral is such a beautiful thing in that sense. Especially because I don't physically have to be at one, because I think I just hate them, whatever, nobody likes them. I'm like, I'm so unique, I hate funerals. Anyways, but I never had to write with an audience in mind because there was no audience. And so now I have the muscle, which I don't know if I would have had if the first one would have been just so successful. Because you hear about a lot of people's first albums going so well that you have then this constant back and forth of wanting to write for an audience. And because nothing was successful, there gets to be just me. And you're like, okay, great, wrap it up. No, not just me. If you, for example, fiction writers, a lot of it is observing people, and not in the most writers, at least I am assuming, who write fiction aren't like, okay, so this is how they do this, and they're like taking notes as they go. It's just experiencing people and having a feeling for different types of people, like feeling it out and then writing about it. But people interact with you differently if you're very successful. Thank God, I think writers get an amount of normalcy that other art forms don't get. I think probably painters, because painters aren't as fashionable at the moment either. But singers don't. Like, you're doomed. Like, that's why I think a lot of art songs end up being about love. Not only because it's presence and art lends itself to presence, and not only because it's magical and love is awesome, but also because no matter how successful you are, love stays about the same. Love really has no income bracket and has no bounds in that sense. But you get to just interact with the world, you get to see the world, you get to observe the world, you get to make art, and that is the point. And it's so easy to lose track of that. That's why they say don't quit your job for art. I think that's one of the reasons, at least, people say it. It's because once it becomes a job, it becomes really stressful and there's a lot of pressure. And it used to be the most magical thing you wanted to do. It's like the person you sneak out of your house to meet. That was art. And then it becomes this like person you have to check in with every day, which is nice as well. But this metaphor is like floating away from me. But it becomes a different thing. And there's beauty in the difference because you don't want to be sneaking out at 2 a.m. forever. But there's a transition period, and art in people's lives who don't end up being successful from their art gets to be the thing they sneak away from every day. To sneak away to every day. And there's a beauty in that too. Now, I'm not saying being broke, not having food, all of these things are like really enjoyable and everyone just needs to like enjoy being homeless. No. But I think there's beauty and I think there's meaning in the fact that a lot of successful artists weren't successful in their time because they were ahead of their time, and that they weren't overly successful in their time, and therefore they got to have real observations of people because they got to be really with people. They got to be with people. They got to see interactions. They got to hear the whispers. They got to see the things that people say behind the scenes that they maybe wouldn't say to someone they know would write about it later. They got to really experience life, and therefore they really got to write about it. And I guess writing maybe you get to keep that even if you become successful, sure, but there is a beauty in there's a beauty in a secret relationship. There's a beauty in a secret relationship. Now, should you just carry on that secret relationship forever, and should that be the goal, to have a secret relationship forever? No, but there's a beauty in it, and there's something really cool about getting to have something that just belongs to you and feels so meaningful, and you have partial control over it, and it has partial control over you, and it just gets to be yours. It gets to be like this existential, forever long hug you get to have with something that gets to change, and you change, but the hug stays the same. These kind of things. And it's not to say success isn't great, it's not to say money isn't great, but that is the goal. That is the goal. The goal of art, and I had this realization a while ago when I was writing my first fiction book, where I was like, this is it. This is it. The room might change, the computer might be newer, and my clothes might be more expensive, but this is it. Me typing on the computer, thinking, laughing, enjoying, writing, reading it back, and looking at it, looking over it, thinking about the character, thinking about the poem, writing the poem, looking up, writing about something else. This is it. It might change the location, the clothes, the things. I might have new glasses. I might look different. I might lose weight and whatever else. But the thing that is the thing, which is typing and enjoying it, is it. And I think a lot of art forms are like that. Yes, it's nice to have an audience. Yes, it is such a compliment to have someone read your poem at a funeral or really connect with something you've written, to sing all of the lyrics to your song, to know your painting by heart. That is beautiful. That obviously, such a compliment, such a wonderful thing. But that's not why you do it. It's not why you do it. You do it because you love it. You do it because you love it. You do it because you love it, and you love it now. You don't. It's the equivalent of when someone is like nagging someone forever. There was this one TikTok of this one girl who was nagging her boyfriend forever to get married. And at some point, you're watching the TikTok, and at some point you're like, okay, but are you in love? Because if you're in love, like, okay, he heard it. Like, can't you just enjoy being in love? Because what is the next thing you're gonna nag about when you're then married? What's the next thing? Like, if you love this thing, love it now. Don't love it when other people love it. Don't postpone the love for it when everyone agrees and claps around and blah, blah, blah. Don't get super experimental only then. Experiment now. Try now. Do it now. The purpose of art is not for it to be loved, it's for you to connect and actually have it be an honest expression of yourself. The stuff around it is beautiful and such a compliment, and you should never be like bratty and snotty about it and be like, ugh, I didn't write it for you. Unless you are writing about them, I think they got that you didn't write it for them. It's still cool that they can connect to it. It's still cool that the painting made them think of something else. They know it's not specifically for them, but isn't that even cooler? That you get to experience something so specific to you, and they get to hear the same thing and connect to it in a different way, make them think of someone different. Isn't that cool? Isn't that so cool to be able to connect to people so honestly, on such a base feeling of your complete honesty, connecting with somebody else's complete honesty, that you maybe wouldn't even get to that point otherwise. So, if you take if you take art as a hobby, or if you want to make it a profession, or if you're just kind of in between, whatever it is, I hope this helped. Go check out my art course. It's on here. It's called Art Course. It's a playlist. Go check it out. And start with the first video, because you have homework, and I actually want you to get something done. I want you to get an album or a book or a painting or a sculpture. We're actually going to get you to have something so that the imposter syndrome of you being an artist goes away. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and check out all the things in the description.